Hello, and welcome to another Behind the Poem story. The story is behind the poems in my collection between hindsight and foresight. The next poem and the one for this week and the one for next week are both called How Much. Now, this isn't a mistake. This is something that I decided when I was looking up some of my older material, and I looked at this poem for this week, the How Much that was written in youth, had the same title as one I wrote about 10 or so years ago called How Much, that I wrote as an adult. And I had already decided to include the How Much that I had written as an adult when I was going through all of that older material. When I noticed the reused title and I read the poem underneath from when I was younger, I decided that it was okay to use both poems and to give that little subtitle about when they were written to help differentiate. But the other major difference is in the content of the poems. They are linked and they are related, which is why I'm going to be talking about them back to back. This week, I want to talk about the first one, the one I wrote when I was a teenager, when I was still in high school, in a hopeful kind of way, as young people do often look at love, especially people like myself who love fairy tales and are hopelessly romantic, all of that kind of stuff. And it reminds me of the song by Joni Mitchell called Both Sides Now. I had never heard the song until it was part of the film that came out much, much later called Love Actually. When I heard the song as part of that soundtrack, it reminded me how I look at love now and how I see a lot of things that most of us do once we become an adult and we grow up and we learn about life. Both Sides Now has the same kind of feel to me as these two poems do when I look at them both together. So let's look at the original one now. Let's look at the How Much written in youth. I was then, and am still now, despite being grown up, a hopeless romantic. I completely, totally all about finding the love of my life, wanting that love or that kind of love in my life, as most people do. The first half of Joni Mitchell's song, Both Sides Now, the first four verses, remind me of this poem and how I felt when I wrote it. The first verse, the first half of the poem, the first verse, is kind of a reflection of a teenager looking for love, someone who has a hesitant hope that the love that she's in or the relationship that she's in is what she wants and is what she thinks it is. That whole kind of self-doubt about ourselves, what we think, what we feel, what we see, that self-doubt as to why we hold back in first love or in our early relationships because we want to be sure that it's what we think it is, that we're afraid to fall in love even though we really want it. That whole kind of concept of, am I doing this? Am I really falling in love? Is it something that I should be doing? Is it real? And so that first verse is all of that kind of questioning. How much would you give for me to let you in? How much would you give to me to be what I hope that you are? And so I was in that kind of state a lot of my youth. I desperately wanted that knight in shining armor, that heavily romantic love to come and find me because that's what I wanted, but I wanted one that would last for the rest of my life. And so as the second verse begins, I'm imagining, not wrongly, but maybe a little naively, of what I think it is that I actually want from time, what I want from a love that I would choose to share my life with. Kind of imagining that perfect person, as we always do. Not someone who is perfect in and of themselves, but perfect for me. So looking at it now, looking at the second verse now, I might even have separated out the last 7 lines of the second verse into a separate third verse because it's kind of questioning that imaginary partner, questioning myself simultaneously, questioning them, the imaginary perfect love partner, and questioning myself as to, is this going to be worth it? If I do let you in, if you offer to be that love of my life, and I let you in, is it going to last? Is it going to be worth it? And are you who I think you are? Am I who you think I am? Is it going to last and be past that first blush of love? Or are you still going to be there after I give in? Or is it not really real? Are you going to take what you want and then disappear? And so there's that war within my hopelessly romantic self as a teenager of, are you what I think you are? Can I have what I hope I can find? Or is it just an illusion? Is it just imaginary? And it's that constant questioning throughout, that constant hesitant hope throughout, is definitely representative of youthful love, of the searching and the hoping of youthful love. And the play on words with the title is something that does carry through the poem and does carry through to the conclusion of it. The whole concept of like, what is this going to cost? How much would you give me for me to let you in? How much is it going to cost me to let you in? That play on words, implies that it's a give and take, that it's hopefully a give and take. And I'm still hoping to find that ideal, maybe, but that hope is still grounded in that youthful kind of that youthful need for love, that youthful belief that there's someone out there for all of us. And the whole cotton candy dreams and all the fairy tales come real, as is in the Both Sides Now song, is the same kind of feeling of how much that was written in the hope of youth, and that I hope to find it, I question it, I seek it. And so the whole poem, How Much, is about that wanting it very much and hoping that it's actually there, hoping that when I find it, it will actually be what I think it is. So that whole poem feels that way. That whole poem is about finding it, seeking it, hoping to find it, and holding on to it. And so it differs from the second poem of the same title, because it is before finding a love that I'd hope to hold on to, and that feeling of hopeless romantic nature that it reflects, which a lot of people will have felt when they were little, the dreams of finding someone to spend your time with. So I hope that that is clear, is interesting to you, the whole concept of having two poems of the same title written at different points in life, completely unaware of having written it twice, is, gives it a little bit more kick. So I will see you again next week, where I will tell you about the second poem of the same title, but this time written as an adult. Thank you for listening, and I hope you have a safe and a lovely Saturday.